Hi everyone, hope you're well. This is Mr. Dix. So today we're going to make koftas and flatbread. But as we know, first of all, quick reminder about the hand washing. So important that you maintain that. Even when all this is over, you still need to do it. So as a reminder, we need some hot water and we need some soap. So in the palm of the hands, of wet hands, we can do palm to palm. And then we turn our hands over and we're going to do the back of the hands. Then we do between our fingers. Remember, it should take about 20 seconds. I'm not going to sing. Back of your fingers. You do that in the palm of your hands. And your thumbs. And actually it's interesting, actually, if you look at your thumbs, actually the front is still dry. So actually, absolutely do your thumbs. And then the tips of your fingers, you rub them around your palm. Okay, and then again, we're going to wash that off with hot water. That is really key also. Hot water. And then actually I have a clean tea towel here, so I'm going to use a clean tea towel. But like I said before, you can use kitchen cloth that you actually get rid of, kitchen paper. That's probably better in some ways. There we go, right, that's it. Right, so today then we're going to do koftas, which is a name I couldn't remember on the last video. If you want to have a quick look at the ingredients, just so we can quickly run through them. Like most recipes, you can change lots of the things you put in, alright? So traditionally it's lamb mince. I couldn't get any lamb at all. There was lots of beef. This is pork mince. You use chicken or turkey mince. It doesn't really matter, but it should be lamb mince if you can find it. Right, so we have an onion. I have a red one. You could use a white one. Garlic. We have chilli. Just need a little bit of chilli unless you like it really spicy. I've got some parsley here. You could use dried parsley or some mixed herbs also work. And then we have some cumin, all right? But it needs to be ground cumin, so it's a powder. All right, fairly simple. So let's make the koftas before the flatbreads. Right, so what we do then is we put the meat into a bowl. And we're then going to do the onion. If I can just remind you how to do the onion, if you didn't watch the previous video. But remember, very quickly, that's the root. Don't touch the root. Take the top off the onion. Sit it on the bit you have just cut. Do the bridge hold, just like this. Put the knife in the bridge, so you're cutting through the roots. Then you're just going to peel the onion. There we go. Let's get rid of that. Just put that away for a second. Right, then you actually want this as fine as you can in this instance. Normally, on the recipe, you should put everything in food processor or just whiz it, but it tends to make it quite mushy. You get a bit more texture doing it this way, but you don't want big chunks of onion because the onion goes in raw. Alright, so literally cut it as fine as you can. As a reminder, you put the knife in near the back and just cut down, alright? So obviously the closer you do that, the finer the onion will be. As you progress doing this, if I just do it on the other one quickly, instead of stabbing it and going down, if you just put the knife in, using again the claw grip, I just slice down. Now obviously I've been practicing this for quite a while. Put it flat, through, not all the way through, but just to near the root. Again, and then slice down. And you do want, remember using the claw grip again, you want as fine as you can, otherwise you'll get chunks of kind of uncut onion, which is not great. Right, so that goes in there. Right, chilli. Can I just give you a little health warning about this? If you can't find chilli, you can use chilli powder, chilli flakes. You want about half a teaspoon, probably chilli powder or chilli flakes if you want some background heat. But real chilli, this is what you do. Take the green off and you split it all the way down the middle. Now with the chilli, actually it's the seeds and the white part which is the hottest. So unless you like it blow your head off hot, you take them out. So with the point of the knife, just take out the white part and the seeds. The recipe actually says a quarter of a chilli. Alright, so you don't want much at all. Let's move that out of the way. Now just as a, I'll just put this over there. Now just as a reminder, you should never touch your eyes or anything else after cutting chilli because you'll be in a lot of pain. Again, you want this fine. So what I would do, remember we only want a quarter, so let's do it like that. I would cut it in strips. First, as fine as you can, then turn them that way, And then again, do the rocking chop that I think I showed before. Take your time. Again, I think, like I said, make sure if you can, just get one decent knife, sort of a standard, what's known as a chef's knife, like this one. That will last you for literally forever, if you keep it sharpened. Right, then you want some parsley, just some fresh parsley. The way to do parsley, people struggle with this, is that you can eat, if you like, as you can, just like a tree, I guess, but use the whole thing, all right? You don't have to pick off the leaves at all. The best way to do this is literally screw it into a ball, as much as you can, and then just slowly slice down. And that will just chop everything nice and fine. Again, a few lumps, not a problem. Again, knife on the board, put your finger on the board, just do a rocking chop. Okay, so that again goes in. What we're then going to do, let's just move this out of the way. Just do the garlic, same as before, same as garlic. Take one end off, take the other end off, peel it, either with your fingers or with a knife. Sometimes it can be a bit sticky, so it depends whatever works. Oops. So flat of the knife, bash, give it a chop. There we go. Right, now that essentially are the main ingredients. What we now do is add some seasoning, some salt and some pepper. So some salt and some pepper. What the main flavour then actually is cumin. All right, you need to make sure you get ground cumin. You can get cumin seeds, but you don't want that in there. It's the ground cumin, and this is probably the predominant flavour. Everything. You want 1 teaspoon of cumin. Okay, just like that. Right. Get rid of all this. What you now do is get your hands in. All right, you want to squeeze the whole mix together. Notice there's no egg in here, and to bind it, the meat will bind itself. We can combine everything. We give it a real good squidge. Like I said, you can put this in a food processor. That's what you are meant to do, but it does make everything. You can't really see what's in the kofta. You know, you don't have lumps. It's just like a fine puree. I just think having the odd lump is better. Okay, what you're now going to do is this. Koftas are sort of spicy. You have a massive choice. You make it into a hamburger, you can make it into like meatballs. What's traditional is that you put them around a long skewer and then you would grill them. Okay, now I don't have any skewers, and you may do, and if you do, that's great. I don't, but I would still make them into sausage shapes, and you'll see later why. So when we made the wraps, because the wrap is round, you want something cut like a sausage type thing to go in there, just easier to to eat. So just take some, roll it into a ball, and then just squidge it out into a kind of a rough sausage shape on a baking tray. Now you've got lots of options of how to actually do this. I'm going to grill them, but you could fry them, and you could also bake them. Actually, it doesn't really matter. What grilling does is obviously give a sort of a nice kind of crusty top. All right, so I'm going to put these under the grill in a second, and they will take about 10 minutes. Okay, and so we'll come back in 10 minutes and see when they're cooked. Again, okay, so my koftas are cooking away. I can keep checking on them. If you're frying them, you want a middle gentle heat. You want to listen to them, make sure they're not burning, turn them regularly. Or if you're baking, they will all be good, about 15 minutes, thereabouts. Okay. We can do the koftas. If I have a quick look, so I've weighed 200 grams of flour already. It can be really any flour, wholemeal flour, plain flour, self-raising flour. I know it's hard to get, but any kind of flour generally is fine. Then we want a 1/4 teaspoon of salt, otherwise called a pinch. Put that in. We want 2 tablespoons of oil. Now it doesn't really matter, the olive oil could be just regular oil, just need oil. This is a very simple flatbread. So 1 and 2. And then we want 100 millilitres of warm water. Okay, if you have scales, if you have a measuring jug with this on, or we can actually use scales often and just change the unit to say millilitres, but it's 100 mils of warm water. Okay, what we're then going to do, I'm actually going to get a spatula first. You can get your hands in straight away, but it's easier, I just think, just to do this first. Alright, so as we're doing that, I'm going to actually turn on the heat, because what we do is actually fry them, all right? So in a very tiny bit of oil. Now at this point, you can have a look, students would say, oh, that's too dry, you know, what have I done wrong? And they start adding water. But in these instances, get your hands in, all right? Really squeeze it together. Sometimes the bowl, this is quite a large bowl, it sounds weird, but it can stop you getting your hands in. In that case, take it out of the bowl, right? Literally get it on the table, make sure the table is clean beforehand. But what you want to do is you want to squeeze it together. Now we're going to give the bread a very brief knead. Because there's no yeast in it, you know, there's no particular need to knead it. However, it is worth it. I'll show you how to knead, if that's okay. Just want to have a little zoom in for 1 second. Often people think that's kneading, that will do nothing at all. In all bread, whether it's strong flour or plain flour or self-raising flour, there's a natural ingredient called gluten. And when you stretch the gluten, it makes the bread stretchier, and therefore when you roll it out, easier. So the way to do it is use the base of your hand, or the heel of your hand as it's called, and you push it away from you, and you pull it back. Push and pull. To get yourself in a little rotation. So I say to the students, if you're not sweating, you're doing it wrong. All right, that's the idea. So make sure all the flour you've got on your clean table is incorporated. You need all that. Okay. So what we're now going to do is roll these into, you know, rounds. So I've actually got a posh pastry cutter there, and if we get a rolling pin out. Okay. So again, how big you make them is dependent on you and how big you want them. They basically have small ones, large ones. We go for a decent size. So that mixture then will make 4, but you probably could make 6 out of this to cut it smaller. And all we're going to do is just roll it out into a round. Alright, so get a rolling pin, and we're going to roll. Just note, by the way, when you're rolling, put your hands either side, even pressure, and you push down. But don't just do it like that, you must every roll turn it, and that just guarantees that the mixture is not stuck. If yours is a little bit sticky, add a little bit of flour. But as you can see, I did mine to the recipe, and mine is not sticking. If it was getting a bit sticky, I would add a tiny dusting of flour. What you shouldn't do, but some students sometimes do, is then and then sort of mix it all up again, because that will just dry the mixture out. Right, use the flour purely for it not sticking. Right, now you notice I have a lovely round knot. But you know, it doesn't actually matter, because this is real cooking, this is not fake TV cooking. So this is what we then do. We're going to put our frying pan on. We want a little bit of oil. I'm going to stress a little bit. You're not deep frying these. You're literally just going to, the oil will just help slightly. Okay, right, stop. Again, okay, so we're going to do the flatbread. This is obviously a very basic bread. So as I said before, frying pan, we want a bit of oil, teaspoon, I guess, just in there. And then what you're going to do is move it around. Make sure the pan is hot, otherwise you'll get an oily flatbread. And then literally just lay that in. Again, so let's just give that, it should take 1 minute, either side, I guess. Again, use your ears and your nose when you're cooking. If it sizzles too much, or obviously the smoke coming off it is too hot, take it off, turn it down, and put it back on again. All right, don't just stand there watching it burn. All right, so you need to use all your senses when you're cooking. I'm going to show you where we are with the koftas. We're not quite done yet. If I get them out from under the grill, just to give you an idea. So this is them so far. Okay, so they're not done yet. I mean, they probably are nearly done. If you see me pushing it, other than a thermometer, you can often tell by how spongy the meat is, right? Because the protein sets in the meat. At the minute, these are not quite done, and actually you want a slightly more charred, browner, because it would just taste nicer. But we're probably about 5 minutes away. All right, okay, let's go back to this. If you can see, there's some bubbles appearing on the bottom. Good indication. We can then turn it over. You actually want these little charred bits because it adds some nice flavour, and we're going to give that just another sort of 10-15 seconds just to cook on the bottom. Obviously, we'll make sure it's cooked because it's not particularly pleasant if it isn't. Again, don't worry about the fact they're not round. Who cares, right? It's homemade and it will taste just as good whether it's round, oblong, square, or whatever the case may be. And I think we're probably good there. Yep, so we look underneath there. So there's no raw paint or no raw dough, and I've just been putting mine on a like a platter, which I'll show you the koftas later. And there we go. And I'll see you in a second when we put it all together. Okay, so there we go. So the breads are done, and the koftas are done. Can we just zoom in on this? Is that all right? So we know the koftas are done because obviously we don't have a meat thermometer necessarily, but again, the meat feels firm and it's brown around the edge, all right? So you could, like I say, I grilled these, but you could bake them, you could fry them, all right? So just make sure that they're firm. I've got some lettuce and tomato. You could do it 100 ways, really. But let's say we take a wrap. What would be quite nice is put a kofta in one of the homemade wraps and a bit of salad and some tomato. What's your slices, or you could chop the tomato. If you had mayonnaise or you know, some kind of relish, that would be amazing for a really nice and healthy and quick lunch. Hope you enjoyed that. I'm going to see you on Friday for the live cook along at 1 o'clock with Instagram. It's Cooking with Mr. Dix, and I look forward to seeing you on Friday. See you then.